Good afternoon, how are you? I'm Angel, welcome to the channel. Today I want to share this beautiful book with you, Love Poems Only, by the Peruvian lawyer Miguel Angel Garibaldi, who studied at the National University of San Marcos in Lima and has a master's degree in public management by the Center for Higher National Studies. Published in November last year, its presentation was in the district of Magdalena del Mar on Saturday the 24th of September, and a good friend of mine lent me this book, which in 298 pages is an anthology, as its cover says, which includes 59 Peruvian poets and 171 poems. The main topic? Love, especially romantic love. I always say that I'm more into prose than poetry, but I don't dislike the latter. I even recite poems on this channel, and books like this make us see how important literature is in general and poetry in particular. In the introduction, Mr. Garibaldi recalls his literary experience, mainly at secondary school, and it is impressive how much teenagers were taught at that time. He was born in 1946. More than just teachers, those educators were mentors and took their students throughout a literary voyage around the world, from the Greek and Latin classics to Spanish literature, from Peruvian poets to Latin American writers. As stated on page 11, those lessons did have a university level. I finished school in 2002, and although I guess I wasn't taught literature with the depth he was taught, at least I can remember many fascinating works which enable us to see life from a different angle. It seems it doesn't happen any longer, and this subject and authors like history have been reduced in our national curricula. In any case, I agree with what's said on page 12. Reading is one of the most comforting experiences. By reading, especially by reading novels, one gets into various worlds. Coming back to poetry, in his comments, Mr. Carlos Aurelio Diaz, on page 15, says, "Love poetry humanizes the human being. It reinforces its identity, its essence." Mr. Garibaldi explains that this anthology pays homage to our national poets in chronological order and sticking to the topic of love, to their romantic expression. Each poet is introduced with a brief biography, footnotes, and references to the literary school they belong to, as well as their main works. There are 59 poets in total, from the mysterious colonial poetess Amaryllis to poets who died tragically at a very young age, like Mariano Melgar or Javier Heró. Even though I have identified our four classics, or pillars, as called in this book, like José María Eguren, José Santos Chocano, Abraham Valdelomar, and César Vallejo, all of whom reminded me of my school years, this is also a great opportunity to learn little-known facets of prose writers, at least to me. For one thing, I've had the pleasure to read Sebastián Salazar Bondi or Manuel González Prada in verse for the first time in my life. Also, I've been able to know about plenty of poets about whom I just knew their names at most, such as Giovanna Pogliarolo, Antonio Cisneros, and others, being John Lopez Morales, the youngest one. He hasn't turned 40 yet. To conclude, I have noticed how little I know about the poets of Peru and how much there is to discover and rediscover. On the one hand, this is such a pity, but on the other, this invites us to dive into this magic world of Peruvian poetry in Spanish. A highly recommended book indeed. Goodbye.